friends, my name is Alexis, and in today's video, I'm going to be trying to read 3 books in 3 days. Hi, hello, if you're new here, my name is Alexis. I am a bookstagrammer and booktuber, and this is my booktube channel. Today I'm going to be starting a new vlog that I'm very excited about to share with y'all, but this clip is kind of a twist. So first I want to say that I'm currently experimenting with a new camera, and because of that, I've had some major audio issues that caused several of the clips for this vlog to not be usable. Like, there is a static green over them that makes them awful to listen to, so I'm actually editing Alexis here to read you the introduction before we jump into the video because the introduction was unfortunately one of the clips that had to be scrapped. In today's video, I'm going to be trying to read 3 books in 3 days. And this is a really huge challenge for me because personally I am a slow reader. I read 1 to 2 books a week, maybe, but I've always wanted to try a challenge like this because I always see them on my booktok and my booktube, so I thought it'd be really fun while I'm on winter break to try to attempt a more ambitious reading speed. So in this video, that's what we're going to be doing. In my original introduction, I talked about a few of the physical arcs that I had on deck, but truth be told, I don't have any of them with me, but I did have a few physical arcs, which will be playing on the screen right now, that I was considering reading for the first book for the first day of this challenge. However, I ended up not picking them, which you'll see in a minute. But the main gist of this challenge is honestly that I just want to push myself while I'm on winter break. I have a very long and extensive winter break, and it's coming to an end soon, so I thought it'd be really fun to try to knock some arcs off of my TBR because I have a lot of arcs on my NetGalley, and one of my goals for 2023 is to take care of my backlog of arcs and essentially, at this point, read every single arc that's already downloaded onto my Kindle. That being said, I'm not expecting to end the year with no books left on my Kindle from NetGalley, but I would really like to get through the 20 plus backlogged NetGalley arcs. So that was the main inspo for this video, is while I can, trying to see how many arcs or books I could just get through within 3 days. Thank you for being patient, especially with the weird jumpiness and the different intro, but I am so proud of this video, and I just knew that I wasn't going to be able to scrap it just because some of the clips got messed up when a majority of them are still good. So anyways, thank you for clicking on my video, and I hope you enjoy watching me try to read 3 books in 3 days. Of the books on my Kindle, there are already a few I'm seeing instantly that are jumping out at me as upcoming or recent releases I should probably get to sometime soon. One of them is Do I Know You by Emily Whipperly and Austin Broca. I love those authors, and they have a book coming out later this month in January I need to get to. I have access to The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. Big fan of Lynn Painter, so I want to get to that book sometime soon. The Reunion by Kayla Olson. I saw a few people getting copies of that one recently, so I kind of think that one might have just came out. The Stand-Up Groomsman is the sequel companion book to a book I read in 2022 and loved, and that one came out a few months ago. The Fraud Squad by Kyla Zhao. That one I think is coming out in a couple months. My point being, there are a lot of books, and a lot of them I'm interested in, and I'm kind of having a hard time getting myself to figure out what I'm in the mood to read today. I don't think I'm in the mood for any of the physical books I mentioned. I just don't think any of those are my alley. I'm kind of thinking something cute and fluffy and romantic. And truth be told, I'm kind of thinking Do I Know You by Emily Whipperly and Austin Broca. I don't know if I'm going to commit to that or not, but that one does come out at the end of the month, and I did commit to doing a blog tour for it, so I do really need to read it sometime soon. I have loved every book I've read by Emily and Austin, so I have high hopes that if I pick it up, I'm going to enjoy it. I honestly don't even know why I haven't picked it up yet, considering how much I love their books. So I think that's going to be the hesitant plan. I definitely could change my mind about this, but I think that's going to be the hesitant plan for today. So it is many hours later and the lighting is horrible because since it's winter, the sun's setting at like 5 p.m. and it's literally 5:15 right now, hence the lighting. But anyways, I have finally started my book for the day. I didn't intend to not read it until now, but I got busy doing social media stuff and working on a YouTube video. So now we're just here, but I am now 20% into Do I Know You by Emily Wibberley and Austin Stephen Broca. So I thought this would be a good natural point to stop my reading and give you guys the plot summary before I try to finish this book tonight. So Do I Know You comes out around January 23rd or 4th, I think, and it is an adult romance book about our two main characters, Eliza and Graham. And Eliza and Graham have been married for 5 years and dating for more than that, and their relationship is just not going very well. They're at this point where they just aren't connecting to each other, they aren't communicating, aren't talking, and things are just generally not going great. So this book really picks up and takes place because for their 5th wedding anniversary, they go on a vacation together, and at this place, I forget where they're staying, but when they get to the place, the first night they're there, they get mistaken for strangers and are accidentally kind of like set up together, and they instantly have this brand new banter and chemistry that they haven't had in literally years, pretending to be strangers. So they decide for the whole trip they're going to pretend to be strangers and see if that can rekindle their relationship. So this is a second chance romance. It's a week-long story, or at least the main plot is a week long, and I'm really excited. It's really cute so far. I'm really enjoying a lot of elements. The main female character, Eliza, is actually an audiobook narrator, and the male main character is a lawyer. I think it's really interesting so far, and I really like the writing. I was instantly sucked into the story, and I'm just really enjoying it. I tried reading this book once already, and I was just in a weird spot, so I read the first chapter and put it down. But when I started reading it today, I picked it up and instantly was just like connecting. Like I sat down and read the first 6 chapters with no interruptions. It's really cute so far, and I'm enjoying it. I have a lot of high hopes for this book just because I love Emily and Austin so much, and just because the first chunk of the book, the first 20%, has already been so enjoyable. I finished it. I finished the book. Okay, so many things. So it's currently 9:15 p.m. So that's why the lighting looks absolutely atrocious, but like, I don't even know how to be a functional human right now because like, oh my gosh. Okay. That book just like, I knew I was gonna love it because I love Emily and Austin, but like, that book was like, the words are hard. I can't even, it was that good. It was. Coming up with the words to say and like film a nice, coherent, good review is like just not happening right now, but like, yo, that book was so cute. I loved it. Honestly, the words I would use to describe it are like fun, fluffy, quick. The book flew by so fast, and even though I was like sitting on my couch for hours, I had no motivation to get distracted. Like I didn't want to pick up my phone. I didn't want to watch TV. Like I was having no problem just sitting and reading, which is not something I have done successfully in I don't even know how long. Part of my reading slowness is that I get distracted a lot while reading, and honestly, aside from like a dinner break and a brief get up snack break, I literally just sat down and read the whole book because it was so beautiful and addicting. Like every single scene with these characters together, the chemistry was just so good, and I was rooting for them the whole time. This book is the epitome of a second chance romance, and it is beautiful. It is amazing. It is atmospheric. It has banter. It has flirting. It makes me believe in love. Like it, y'all, it was so good. I'm sure tomorrow or just later I will have a more coherent review, but I'm just like, I can't stop smiling thinking about it because I just loved it so much. I totally fell in love with Eliza and Graham and their romance, and I was just rooting for them so hard. This honestly, I think, tops The Breakfast Draft, which was their debut novel. Not to be super comparison-y, but I just feel like Emily and Austin age like fine wine. Every time they write a book, I feel like it's better than the last book, and that's saying something because I have never disliked one of their books. So somehow they have always just kept getting better, even though the first book I even ever read from them was a 5-star read. So like, it's just unreal. This book was unfreaking real. It was so good. The chemistry, I don't even know how to form like coherent thoughts right now. I feel like I'm just word vomiting all my feelings out into this video, and I'm also talking so fast right now. So sorry. I'm amped up on this book because it was so cute and just filled me up so much. I adored it. There were some things in it I was surprised by. Like, it was a little spicier than I expected. Emily and Austin don't really write a lot of spice, and this one I wouldn't even say was spicy, but I thought it would be even less spicy than it was. So I really liked the sexual tension and the spice in it, but also just like in general, the whole book was phenomenal and fast-paced and addicting and just so good. And something Emily and Austin do in their young adult books that I love is that in each book they have a little cameo from the characters from the past book. And in this book they did do that with the roughest draft, and it was super small, but like I was reading it and I let out the loudest squeal because I was just so excited to see that little cameo moment. It filled me up with so much joy. I just adore these books. I adore that book. I adore these others. I am so happy I finally read this, and I cannot believe, considering that this book comes out in literally like a couple weeks, I just now read it, because like now I'm just like, why didn't I read that earlier? It brought me so much happiness and joy, and I am just so glad that I finally read it. I am so happy also that day one of this challenge was a success. I was a little nervous since I started reading later in the day than I hoped, that I wasn't actually going to be able to get through this first book, but I am really happy. Tomorrow's going to be a little bit different, but I will save that spiel for tomorrow morning's check-in. I'm so happy day one went well, and we're starting off strong with a 5 out of 5 star read. I will say this right now. There's no way that this book is not going to be on my favorites list of 2023. I will be shocked if at the end of this year I look at my favorites list and this book is not on it, because this book deserves to be on it, and I am just predicting it now that it will be on it because I love this book so much. It's probably going to be my favorite of the month, I think. I don't know. It's literally January beginning. It's literally January 5th, so I don't want to say too much right now, but that book is going to be really hard to top the rest of the month and even the rest of this challenge, because that was so good. And the fact that I have to wait another year for their next book, which I think is the Breakup Tour. How am I going to be patient for that? How am I personally supposed to be patient for that? Okay, I'm going to cut myself off here because I genuinely think I would rant to the camera for another 20 minutes, as I have been, about how much I love this book if given the opportunity. So I'm going to go take a chill and get ready for bed since it is getting later in the evening. And I will check in with you guys tomorrow morning to let you know what I am reading and what the plans for the day are. And for that, actually, a quick interjection. I did receive an ARC of this from Berkeley. I want to say thank you so much to Berkeley. Emily and Austin, like I've mentioned a million times, are some of my favorite authors of all time, so getting access to this ARC meant the world to me, and I am beyond thankful I had the opportunity to read it early. So, Berkeley Romance, if you see this, I love you, and thank you so much. Good afternoon, friends. It is currently now day 2 of our reading challenge. So let's just jump into it. So today's a little bit different than yesterday because yesterday I had nothing going on, but today I actually have plans this evening to celebrate my dad's birthday with family, so I won't have as much reading time available to me, and I meant to start earlier in the day today, but I kind of had a sleepy, rainy, just chill morning. Now it is somehow 1:30 p.m. So we need to get on the reading. I haven't figured out what book I'm going to read yet, but I was going to run through my options with y'all before I figure it out. So I have my laptop here, and I have 3 books pulled up, all of which are releasing soon in January of 2023, and I think I'm going to try to pick from these 3, and then if none of them are clicking, we'll figure it out. But the first one is Begin Again by Emma Lord. This one is out on January 24th, and I'm a longtime fan of Emma Lord's work, so this one is about, I think it's a romance of some sort about kids who are going to college. I'm not totally sure the details of this one, but I am a big fan of Emma Lord. I have enjoyed every single book I've read by her, so this one is definitely up there on my radar. The next one is by a new-to-me author, and that is The Fraud Squad by Kyla Zhao. I haven't heard of this one before. I had requested it on NetGalley. This one comes out January 17th, and it kind of sounds like it's almost giving Inventing Anna, where it's the main character is trying to pretend to be a rich girl in Singapore's high society. It's very reminiscent of Gossip Girl, I think, where the main character is just trying to fit in, even though that's not really like the world she's from. This one sounds honestly really interesting. And the third and final book on my list is The Reunion by Kayla Olson. I've read one other book by Kayla Olson, and it was literally a long time ago, and also, not only was it a long time ago, but it was like a YA mystery thriller, so an adult romance is a very different genre, and I'm pretty sure The Reunion is about two people who were like co-stars on a TV show a really long time ago, meeting back up together, and then falling in love for like the show's reunion. That's why it's called The Reunion. Okay, so I've taken a few minutes, and between those three, honestly the ones that are calling the most out to me in order is like The Fraud Squad, The Reunion, and then Begin Again. I just think I'm more in the mood for something that is not YA contemporary right now, so I think I'm going to get a coffee and get cozy, and then try to start The Fraud Squad, and then maybe if that one doesn't click, move on. I really don't want to force myself to read a book if I'm not enjoying it, so I'm just going to try to take today with a grain of salt and just figure out which book sounds the best and go from there. Okay, I have literally maybe 15 minutes before someone gets home, so we're going to do a very fast update. So I'm currently about 20% into the book, so I felt like with yesterday this would be a good place to pause and talk about it. So first, as a synopsis of the book, now that I know a little bit more about it, it follows our main character, Samantha, or Sam. Essentially, Sam comes from a very poor economic background. She lives with just her mom, and her mom is a nail technician who has been struggling with carpal tunnel, which has really been interfering with her work. And Sam herself is a PR agent. And it seems like in the context of the story that they are going through a recession. Like Singapore is going through a recession, so everything has just been really difficult financially for them. At Sam's job, she has a friend who I'm blanking on the name of, but she's a friend who is very wealthy. And one night, that friend invites her out to dinner where she meets this guy who I'm also blanking on the name of. But they have this dinner, and during the dinner, Samantha is like, hey, I have an idea. In order to show your parents that anyone can be anything, despite or regardless of their social status, how about you try to help me become a socialite? That way you can prove to the guy, you can prove your parents wrong about anyone becoming anything. You can show them that anyone, even me, so broke, I don't have much resources, can become a socialite, that you can do whatever you want to do. And in return, I'll become kind of a socialite and have a good chance at getting in with my dream magazine. So they do this little like exchange where they decide, you know what, we're going to put on this big fraud, and for the next 3 months, we're going to help Sam become a socialite, and then he's going to later use this whole situation as evidence to his parents that you can really do anything in life, and you don't have to be defined by who you are going to be when you're born. So far, it's been really enjoyable. It is told in third person, which is typically not my favorite, so it took me a little longer to get into it. And also, I've noticed with this book, there's a lot of really meaty, beautiful descriptions of scenery, which is lovely because it's painting these beautiful images, but because of that, I think it's taking me a little longer to get into the flow of the writing. So far, I am really enjoying it, and I think this book is going to be really fun and juicy. I really like our main character, Sam, and honestly, I keep picturing her as the American Girl doll, Samantha. The main character has brown wavy hair and fringe. It's not necessarily stated that she has like full-on bangs, but they do say that she has fringe. So I've just been full-on picturing her low-key as the American Girl doll Samantha. But I'm enjoying this so far. I am a little nervous about getting it done because it's actually 3 p.m. I've had to take a couple of reading breaks for lunch and filming some TikTok content. But I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful we're going to get through this today. I'm enjoying it so far. It's just taking me a minute. I feel like the book clearly has a timeline set up already where it's like it's going to take place over 3 months, with the end of the 3-month date being a particular big event that they mentioned. And then I'm sure that that's when like the climax of the story will hit. I don't know. I feel like there's a good chance that this is going to surprise me though, because I don't know what's going to happen in those 3 months. So I'm really excited to read this. I actually didn't realize it was out from Berkeley. So low-key so far we're having 2 Berkeley reads. I'm really hoping I enjoy this one, and that's my reading. Good evening, friends. I am here to give you a reading update. Update for now, and I will check in back with you in a little bit, hopefully with having some more progress done. I just got home and it's literally after midnight. I can't remember the last time I got home after like an event or something and it being this late. Even when I'm at college and stuff, I'm just typically not out this late and I'm so tired. As for my reading update, we're going to chat while I get ready for bed. I'm not saying I won't do any more reading tonight, but given that it is after midnight, I'm usually asleep by now, so I don't know if I'm going to really have the energy once I actually get to my bed in my bedroom to try to read more, but I made it to a little over 30% in the Fraud Squad, and I am enjoying it so far. I think a lot of my initial thoughts still stand with what I said earlier about it just being kind of a dense and hefty book, so I feel like it's taking me a hot minute to get through some of the descriptions because the descriptions are really beautiful. Do not get me wrong, I think the descriptions are stunning, but just because of it being a third person, which isn't my fave, and also the way the descriptions are written, it's just taking me a bit. I don't necessarily feel emotionally invested yet in the characters or necessarily even the story, but I am kind of like intrigued. Like, I don't think anything in this book could make me cry right now, but I definitely am interested in seeing where it goes. I feel like it has a lot of potential. We're still very early at this point in the protagonist's like job goal of becoming this like Beijing insider. So I feel like there's just a lot of growth potential with the plot of the book so far. I was really hoping that I was going to finish it today, but I'm still happy with the process and the progress. Progress, not process. I'm so tired. I'm really happy with all the reading I got done today, and just because I didn't finish it today doesn't mean that we still can't do 3 books in 3 days. I'm not going to promise myself anything because I don't want to get my hopes up, but we shall see. I don't have much planned for tomorrow besides just very typical self-care and health things, so I guess we'll find out. Even if I do read more tonight, I can pretty much guarantee that this is going to be the last clip that I record because I'm so exhausted, but I will see you guys tomorrow and we can catch up and see how my reading is going then. Good night. Hi friends, it is now day 3 of the reading challenge, so I thought I would check in with you since we haven't spoken since last night. It's currently like 1 p.m., give or take, and I wanted to just check in and give you guys an update. So I'm currently at 55% through the Fraud Squad, and I'm having a lot of feelings. I honestly think I probably could have finished this book already today, but 1, I'm kind of having an off day, and 2, I'm not jiving with this book as much as I thought I would be, so we're gonna talk about it. I have a lot of things I can say. I'm gonna try to keep this kind of brief since I'm only halfway through. But first of all, I have an issue with the characters, and then I have an issue with the plot, and then I have an issue with the writing. This all sounds really bad. To be honest, I'm not hating the book. I'm just having a lot of like little things that are like kind of piling up in my brain. First with the characters, I feel like I can't get a read on the main character. She's equally very nice and also equally not, and I don't think she's intending to not be a bad person, but it's like I can't really read her character because half the time when she's with other characters, she is so sweet and she comes off very politely and she's very thoughtful, but then the other half of the time she's always choosing herself above everybody else, and I can already see how that's going to be like a major point of the climax of the story, is how she always puts herself and her wants above her friends, even though her friends are always there for her. In terms of the plot, I don't mind a character-driven plot, but this book is so character-driven and lacks plot so substantially that it's like irritating me. Obviously, the main plot of this book is like the Fraud Squad. They're, making this squad and they're going to try to make her a socialite. So there's a lot of socialite related events and media things, but there's no subplots and there's not a really clear like direction of the major plot. Like the major plot, it's like, okay, we're trying to work up to this one specific event at the end of the 3-month period, but all the other events in there just feel kind of random. It doesn't necessarily feel like this happens and then this happens because that happens. It's just kind of like they do this and then they do that and then they're doing this. And even then, also with the characters, I don't think the side characters really have a lot of depth or any like substantial hold in the book. They're just like kind of there. And in terms of the writing, it's just very dense and descriptive, which I think is nice. I don't think it's a bad thing to have a very descriptive and beautiful prose, but it's also making the book very hard to like go through quickly because I'm reading it and it's like, we're going to this influencer event and there's hefty descriptions and there's lots of dialogue, but I don't really feel like the story's moving forward. I feel like the character's just going somewhere, doing the things that you would assume she's going to do there, and then moving on to the next location. I don't even know if this is going to have a romance in it. Like, there really are no subplots. Besides the fact that she's just trying to become an influencer, there is, like, nothing else going on. There's no romance, no mystery, no, like, side quest, no other objectives. She literally just, like, floats between these things. And I'm trying so hard to like this because I wanted to like it so bad and I want to support a debut author, but I'm just not jiving with this book. I want to see what happens because I still feel like there's potential that at the end there's going to be like a dramatic blow up, but I also don't want to waste my time reading a book if it doesn't work for me. I'm like at 50% through, so I think I'm going to try to power through or at least get as far as I can. But I don't really want to give up on this book because I feel like there's still potential for, you know, romance and drama and like fun things to happen, but I'm kind of sad. After loving the first book so much, this one has definitely been a bit of a drop in my morale for this challenge. And I don't know, we're on day 3 of the challenge, and I was really hoping this challenge would work, and there's still definitely a chance this challenge can work if I finish this book and read another book today. But because this book is just dragging and I'm struggling with it so much, it's kind of really dragging my morale down because I just don't feel like sitting and reading this book because I just kind of don't care. There's no swoony romance to root for. There are no emotions that are tugging at my heartstrings. I don't feel like crying. I'm not invested in the characters. And it's like, you know what, the writing is beautiful, and I think influencery stuff and like social lifestyles are super interesting. This one just isn't giving. That's it. This book is just not giving. I will update you when I have either made more reading progress or have decided to DNF this book for the sake of my sanity, because I can already tell you guys that this book is probably going to be a 3-star read at the best, unless the author somehow takes the second half of the book and like does a complete 180 and like blows my mind. Are you kidding me? Oh my... I finished the book. Are you kidding me? It got worse. I don't know how we got to that point, and it got worse, but it got worse. Everything I said at the 50% mark still stands, and it just got worse. So, first of all, this part is going to be pretty spoilery of the plot, so if you do want to read this book, you can skip this section when this little photo in this corner of the book cover goes away. That means I'm done being spoilery, so in case you don't want to listen to any potential spoilers. But essentially, in the second half of the book, things are 1, very predictable, and 2, just awful. So the male main character, Timothy, who is like the love interest, is dating another character for almost the entire book, but he kind of has feelings for the main character, Samantha, at the same time. There's no cheating in this book, but he does end up breaking up with his girlfriend of 4 years, who was his like first love, first everything, to be with Samantha. And then they make out, and I cringed so hard. And then he instantly starts calling her babe, babe this, babe that. First of all, I don't like pet names, but it also really irritates me in a book when immediately after like one little smoochie or whatever, characters just instantly start pet naming, and it gives me an ick. I'm just like, gross. Also, after like, there was no romantic buildup, and then all of a sudden it was just like, we like each other now because he's the male main character and I'm the female main character. So many other issues too. There is like a mild mystery element to this book, but I wouldn't really say it's much of an element. It's just kind of there. But essentially in one of the magazines that's in this world, there is a mysterious writer who writes like articles for the magazine that our main character wants to be part of, and no one knows who the identity is. And it turns out that the identity is Tim, the love interest, and for his final piece, he literally exposes the main character as being a societal fraud, and then is like upset at her when she is like, dude, what the heck, you just exposed me as a societal fraud and now everyone's gonna hate me. And then he's like, don't you see? I love you. I have always loved you. And I was just like, y'all have known each other for 3 months. Y'all barely hang out. You were like literally doing stuff together for the first month of the book, and then you only just occasionally saw each other now and then and would like maybe text message. But it's not like there was ever really banter or flirting. It just comes so out of left field where he was just like, I love you. And then, of course, they get back together at the end, which made me so angry because this is just not a romance. I'm so frustrated because I wanted to like this book so badly. And the first, 45% was honestly not bad, but the longer this book went on, the more frustrated I became with, the lack of plot, it being so character-driven, the confusing morals of the main character where half the time she's nice and half the time she's kind of sneaky and conniving. I also felt like everything kind of fell into her lap so easy. I cannot imagine it would be easy to become a socialite, but somehow I felt like it was so unbelievably easy for her, and I also just didn't buy it. I honestly never felt like I felt her becoming a socialite. She just kind of did these events and things. I'm just so frustrated because I wanted to like this book so bad, and it wasn't romantic, and it wasn't super enjoyable, and I wasn't emotionally connected, and by the end I was just like, can I please be done with this? And it's making me really upset because I really wanted to like this. I wanted to support a debut author. I had high hopes, and this book was just not for me. I think a different book by this author could be a different story, but this book was, I'm gonna give it 2 stars, I think, because I did enjoy the first chunk of it, and I don't think the writing itself was bad. I really think so much of my issues was the plot, considering the socialite stuff, and then also the romantic aspects of it, which I think also gives into the plot since he did have a girlfriend. I felt like if he hadn't had a girlfriend for so much of the story, then there would have been more time for me to believe the romantic development. But I also do understand he had to have had a girlfriend, because if he didn't, then that wouldn't give there a reason to be an antagonistic character. So I kind of get why he had a girlfriend, but the romance would have been so much better if there had actually been he doesn't become single until 60% through the book. So there would have been so much more opportunity for pining and stuff if he hadn't had that girlfriend character. And also just I just couldn't even, the morals of the main character were so confusing. Half the time she's so nice and praised for being thoughtful and kind and creative, and then the other half the time she's ditching her best friend from before her fame socialite era to go do socialite stuff, and then one of her friends has a birthday party and it's a big deal, and she ditches the last half of it and lies about where she's going so she can go to another party because she thinks that she'll get attention there. And it's just I'm so frustrated. I feel like there's nothing more I can say, and I feel like I could sit here and rant about this for a really long time, but I'm so frustrated just with so many of the aspects I've already talked about, and I'm just glad to be done with this book. I'm going to give it a firm, I think, 2 stars, just because I did enjoy the first part of it, and I did like the beginning, but truly this book I thought was going to give me Gossip Girl. I thought I was going to get the Gossip Girl of Singapore, but instead it was Samantha, the American Girl doll, trotting around doing I don't even know what. Hello friends, it's been a few hours. After I finished the last book, which to you was, 10 seconds ago, I decided I need to take a bit of a breather because I didn't want my feelings towards the last book to bleed into the next book I'm going to read. So I ended up taking a break, I played some Sims, and then I went and got a large McDonald's coffee. This is one of my favorite coffees. They're literally only $1 through the app. I wish this was sponsored. It would not be. If you're watching my channel, why would I be? This is free promo. This is free. It's $1. It's $1, and it's honestly so good, even considering it's $1. So let's talk about what book I'm going to try to read next. I have 2 main options right now, and I'm not actually sure which one I'm going to go with. I'm kind of considering reading 1 or 2 chapters of each book and then seeing which one of the 2 I mesh with more. Oh, as an aside, I think it's a little after 3 p.m. right now, so I have a decent amount of time for the evening, but I don't want to be rushing at 11 p.m. to finish up the final book, so I want to give myself a good cushion of time since there are a few other things I want to do today. But the first book I'm considering picking up is Lying in the Deep by Diana Urban. I've been putting off reading this arc purely because I had a different video in mind for it, but I don't know if that video is going to actually come to fruition, so this is a YA thriller by an author who I've read before, and in my experience, the last book I read by her, I literally couldn't put it down, so that's kind of my thought process, is thrillers, if they're written well, can just be so gripping and engaging that I feel like I could get through this quickly, and it's also an arc, which would be great since I'm trying to get through some arcs in this video. I'm really excited about this book, so this is definitely on it's one of the 2 for my possibles. And then the other one is an e-arc, and that is The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. I'm totally blanking on if that's actually the name of it or if I just made that up. But Lynn Painter's Next book. I love Lynn Painter and I really want to read that book, but I'm almost worried that right now I'm not in the mood for it and I don't want to force myself to read it just because I love Lynn right now and then it not to be the book I wanted to read because I think I'm really feeling something that's not necessarily like gushy and romantic, but more on like a plot driven side. But I don't know. I'm gonna go sit down on the couch with these two and my coffee, and we're gonna read a couple chapters of each, see which one I vibe with, and then I'll check back in and we can start talking about the third and final book of this challenge. Alright, it's been a little bit, so I thought it would be time to check back in. It is currently my phone likes to not turn on. It is currently just after 10 p.m., which means we only have a couple more hours until the day's over, but in my brain, the day's not over until I go to bed. So, I haven't updated you guys in a bit, so I thought it was a good time to do that. So the book I ended up going with for my third book for the challenge was Lying in the Deep by Diana Urban, and I haven't actually given you guys a official full-on synopsis for this one yet, so I felt like that's what we're going to do with this little mid-check-in. I am currently about 150 pages into it, so I felt like this was a good part where I could take a break and explain the plot, since I'm definitely invested now. So, Lying in the Deep, first of all, it comes out in May of this year. It is about our main character, Jade, and for one semester, Jade is embarking on the adventure of a lifetime. It's like this campus on board cruise ship, and it's going to be 11 countries in 4 months. It's very luxurious. She's very excited to go on it, but when she gets on the ship, she realizes that her ex-boyfriend and her ex-best friend, who got together, they're backstabbers. Like, she hates them. They're also on the ship, and everywhere she looks and turns, they're there somehow. Other than that, so far, I haven't gotten to the last chunk of the synopsis, but essentially, our main character is honestly kind of maybe an unreliable narrator. It's not super clear so far, but she definitely has a vindictive, murderous vibe about her. I don't think I totally trust her as a narrator, which is fine, but there's a pretty big cast of characters, and I feel like up until this point, around 150, it's still been a lot of just getting little bits and pieces of information and not necessarily a ton of action, because there's like literally maybe 10 characters that have been introduced. It's just been a lot of, I feel like, getting to know them, getting to know the ship, getting to know how everything is kind of like working before we actually get into the juicy, meaty drama. I don't mind that so far, but it has been making the first chunk kind of slow, just because there are literally 10 characters, like without exaggeration. So it's just taking a minute. Around where I just paused, action was finally just starting to pick up, and I'm very intrigued. Based on just like the back and stuff, and like the author quotes specifically on the back, I feel like there's going to be a lot of stuff happening from this point forward. I feel like the first chunk was really just getting to know the ship, getting to know the characters, getting to know the past, getting an understanding of what happened between the main characters and her ex-best friend and her ex-boyfriend. So, I'm honestly getting pretty tired for tonight, but I'm definitely not going to be done reading today. I think I'm going to try to get ready for bed and then maybe read in bed. I've been having a lot of fun reading this, especially because I have been actually tabbing it. You guys can't see that. Hold on. Especially because I have been tabbing it, was what I was saying. I like to tab physical copies of books, which isn't something I've gotten to do in a very long time, and I got some new tabs for the holidays, so I decided to match the tabs to the cover of the book. Hi and good morning, friends. It is the next morning, which means it's finally time to wrap up this reading vlog and talk about last night. So if you're like, whoa, your hair's different color. Yeah, it is. Last night when I last checked with you guys, I said I was gonna go to bed and probably just read a little bit more, and I did read a little bit more. But I read a little bit more while hair dye processed. I had been kind of loosely thinking about dyeing my hair all night, and then I decided to do it. So I did read a couple more chapters, but honestly nothing more substantial. So I don't really have a lot more thoughts to say about the third and final book of this challenge. So overall, I technically did not pass this challenge since I only ended up reading 2.5 books in 3 days, but honestly, I'm so satisfied with the progress I made in this video. That is so much more than I typically read in a short period of time. So even though I didn't hit the complete 3 books in 3 days, I am still just really happy with the fact that I read as much as I did. To give a brief recap of the books I read, the first book I read was Do I Know You by Emily Lily and Austin Teachman Brokat, which I gave 5 stars and absolutely adored. The second book I read was The Fraud Squad by Kyla Zhao, which I gave 2 stars and was not a big fan of. And then my third and final book, which is my current read, is Lying in the Deep by Diana Urban. I'm currently halfway through that, and I'm sure I will finish it within the next few days. This challenge was so much fun and really pushed me out of my comfort zone, so I'm really glad that I did it. I can't even tell you the last time I spent this much time in a day reading, so it's been really, really fun, and also has honestly really sparked that momentum in me again, where I'm like, I want to read. I just want to hang out and read. I'm going to end the video here. By the time this video goes up, my reviews for these 3 books should be up on Goodreads in case you want to see my full-fledged, in-depth thoughts on them, and hopefully I will finish Lying in the Deep within the next couple days. So thank you so much for watching. If you made it to this point, thank you so much for watching. I hope you had fun hanging out with me while I tried to read 3 books in 3 days. I know I had a lot of fun doing this. If you like this video and want to hang around, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all those things. If you comment or message me on Insta, my handle is right here as per usual. I will try my best to respond. I love engaging with you guys, so please do not be afraid to reach out to me if you have anything to say about the books I mentioned or just want to chat. So thank you so much for watching today's video, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye!